helps me thrive in the classroom is efficiency. There are 5 main things that I do as an educator to remain efficient in the classroom, and I want to share them with you so you can begin saving time as well. Tip 1 is never spend more time making an activity than it takes the students to complete it. As a teacher, I understand that often we want everything to be perfect. We want the best activities, the most colorful. But the students don't generally care. By spending more time making the activity than it takes the student to do it, you're wasting your time. Tip 2, don't reinvent the wheel. Adding on to the perfection piece, we also want things to be individualized. We want ourselves to reflect in every activity. Again, students don't care. You do not need to reinvent every activity you do. Maybe the one you have isn't perfect, but you know what? It will do the same thing. It'll meet the same outcome. And 5 minutes later, the students probably won't even remember. So don't reinvent the wheel. Use what you have. Use what you can find online. You don't have to make everything yourself. Tip 3, ask a colleague if they have something similar you can borrow before making, cutting, laminating, buying, or creating your own. So often we see a colleague that has something and we're like, I'm going to make this for my class. Instead of doing that, just borrow it from that colleague. Make sure it's in good shape and give it back. Tip 4, not everything needs to be laminated. If it will survive without lamination, save your time and money. Lamination is something I used to do all the time, and I've calmed down a little bit because 1, it costs a lot of money. 2, it takes a lot of time. 3, you have to cut everything out again, and 4, it's bad for the environment. So personally, I'll give one example. I have a grouping activity that I do every year. I have papers, and students have to take their little gems and put how many groups equal grouping. Okay, so I could very easily laminate these. Instead, I give everybody their own pages. They use them, and then instead of laminating them and use them again next year, I use them for art. So I'm not wasting the paper, but I'm also not wasting my time. Tip 5, if your school or school board has a resource site, use it. Often they're organized by outcome, topic, or target skill and have activities already created for you. I used to think that these resource sites were for new teachers or for people who didn't know what they were doing. But realistically, I know my school board especially, everything is so laid out. There's activities, there's assessments. Like, use these sites if they're available to you. Use your leads, use your colleagues. Don't feel like you're alone in teaching because, in my opinion, teaching is a team sport. You really, really need to rely on other people to get the job done efficiently and to keep sane. Thank you, and follow along for more.